If health is your goal, frying is the stupidest things we've ever invented to do to our food. Because it burns the food, it burns the oil, and whether you burn starches or you burn protein or you burn oils, they increase inflammation and the risk of cancer, each one of them independent of the other. So the idea of eating raw meat, as long as it's clean, eating it raw, just like eating the veggies and eating the fruit raw, that's nature's standard. Every step you take away from fresh or raw organic will cost you something in health down the line. And every step you took back in that direction, you get something back for health down the line.
This is Vibe Science, a top 100 wellness podcast presented by the Radcast Network, breaking wellness barriers and making health truly personal. Here's your host, Ryan Alford.
Today's guest didn't just build a supplement brand, he helped create the healthy oils industry. After being poisoned by pesticides, Udo Erasmus re-engineered how oils are made, built Udo's Choice into a global brand, and developed a framework for a healthy life. We're getting you into healthy fats, resilience, and why the you in business might matter more than the tactics. Udo, welcome to Vibe Science.
Hi, glad to be on.
Good to have you, man. This was topical for me. I introduced like olive oil into my diet 20 years ago, like we should have. But I've often wondered, because I cook a lot, I often have this, thought in my head of, is this the most healthy, tasty oil that I could be using?
And the answer already is no, even though I don't know what you're doing.
No, because that it's likely not to be.
because here's the thing. If health is your goal, frying is the stupidest things we've ever invented to do to our food. Because it burns the food, it burns the oil, and whether you burn starches or you burn protein or you burn oils, you increase inflammation. They increase inflammation and the risk of cancer, each one of them independent of the other.
No, bad note already on so does that mean cooking it
fail?
Yeah, fail.
Okay. So the next thing you need to do is you need to get your frying pan, you turn it upside down, you hit yourself upside the head with it, and then throw that stupid thing out and go back to cooking in water if you're not going to eat your foods raw.
My wife would be glad to probably do that for me.
You mean you let her hit you on the head with the frying pan?
Yeah, exactly. She'd probably take that job.
Yeah.
But not for the reason you said. So cooking with oil at all, is that what I'm hearing? I mean, I know you used the word frying, but
yeah, if you look at nature, because we all come out of nature, right? There was life before humans on this planet. Yes. Okay. So if you look at nature, every creature that eats its food fresh, whole, raw, organic, local, mostly seasonal, and for human beings in the days when we only had rocks to hunt with, mostly plant-based. So that'd be the standard.
Yeah.
Why, you never see a squirrel with a frying pan. In a frying pan maybe, but not with a frying pan.
Okay.
Right?
So for us that are not going to give up meat, how should we cook it so that it doesn't burn immediately on and stick to the pan?
Okay. Well, the animals that eat meat eat it raw.
Okay.
And if you go to Japan, they eat their sushi or their sashimi raw.
I eat it that way.
In Europe, they eat hamburger raw. So the idea of eating raw meat, as long as it's clean, of course, we mess it up with all kinds of bacteria and stuff because we're pigs in the way we deal with our stuff, right?
Yes.
Then that's a problem. But eating it raw, just like eating the veggies and eating the fruit raw, that's nature's standard. And we're not that much smarter than nature. We're actually kind of stupid when we think we're smarter than nature. Because there's always a side effect. Every step you take away from fresh or raw organic will cost you something in health down the line. And every step you took back in that direction, you'll get something back for health down the line.
What actually makes an oil healthy versus harmful?
The way it's made and the way it's used. And there are two parts. And the reason I ended up starting an industry for making oils with health in mind was I found out that with the way oils are made, they're treated with harsh chemicals, sodium hydroxide, phosphoric acid, then they're bleached with bleaching clays, then they're heated to frying temperature for half an hour before they go in the bottle, before you buy them. And in that processing, damage is done. About 0.5 to 1% of the molecules are damaged. And then they turn into molecules that never existed in nature. And life never made a way to break them down. So they get into spaces in your body and they interfere with what's supposed to be going on there. That's why they get you inflammation, and that's why they increase risk of all kinds of problems. So, what I found out after I found out that there's damage done to oils, I called the industry umbrella organization, American Oil Chemists Society in Champaign, Illinois, and said, I want to talk to a researcher. They put him on the line, and I said, well, you know that this does damage to the oils. Why do you do that? This is like I'm a farm boy, right? It's like, why are you wrecking the thing that you need? It's like, okay. He says, well, one of the reasons is we can get rid of half the pesticides in the oil by heating it to frying temperature for half an hour. And in my head, I'm going, oh, I didn't know there were pesticides in oils. When I took my courses in university on fats, nobody talked about that. It says, oh, the pesticides. So I said, well, why don't you start with organically grown seeds? Then you don't have any pesticide problem to deal with. And he didn't have an answer. He'd never been asked the question, I guess. And then he got mad at me. He says, well, I don't know why you're squawking. It's only 1% damage. And if you got 99% on an exam, you'd be damn happy, wouldn't you? So now I'm saying, okay, well, maybe I'm overreacting. So I decided to do the math. It's what you're supposed to do. When in doubt, right. Do the math, right? So I said, okay, if I have a tablespoon of an oil that is 1% damaged by the processing, by industry, how many damaged molecules will be in that tablespoon? And so I want you to guess.
Oh.
You'll see why it's important.
100.
100. Okay, so 2 zeros on 100, right?
Yeah.
The actual number is a 6 followed by 19 zeros.
19 zeros?
19
That's
zeros.
a number I don't even know how to pronounce.
Yeah, it's 60 quintillion molecules.
Yeah.
Now, that's enough. That's more than 1 million molecules, damaged molecules, for every one of your body's 60 trillion cells. And when you put that's in 1 tablespoon. Most people use 2 to 4. Plus you got pesticides. Plus there's plastic in the oil because oils swell plastic and the plastic leaches. Then if you fry it, you got to multiply that number by another 5 times. And then, so do you think for how many days would you have to do this before there were symptoms in your body that you're doing something wrong?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Not long. And you may
not
not feel them.
We do it for 30 years.
You may not feel it immediately, but it's doing something wrong.
Yeah. And that's right. And we do it for 30 years. And then you get cancer and you say, I don't know, I always ate good. Yeah, because you never got told, you never heard, they never told you that in a tablespoon of an oil that is 1% damaged by the processing and then 5 times more damaged by the frying, that there were like 60 quintillion damaged molecules in that oil before you fried it.
Udo, you know what I'm hearing?
So this is the worst thing in our thing. Like the more health problems come from damaged oils than any other part of nutrition. And more health benefits come from you making the oil change you need to make. Just like in your car, right?
Yeah. That engine. The engine doesn't run if it doesn't have good oil.
Yeah, exactly. Take the dirty oil out and replace it with clean oil.
It sounds to me, though, Udo, there is no healthy cooking oil then.
There is healthy oil, but there's no healthy cooking with oil.
Yeah. Because they've Oh, that's been the rate. Oh, peanut oil is better than this. Oh, this oil is better than that. But I'm hearing from you, no oil cooked or fried is good.
What is true is that the better the oil is for you when it's good, the worse it becomes when you fry it. So omega-3 and omega-6 are very sensitive to damage. So if you're going to fry, and this is like there's no good oil for frying, but if you're going to fry, the least damage is done with hard fats. So coconut and tallow and lard, those kind of fats.
And that's 100% contrary to what people, I think if you ask 10 people on the street, they would say, "Oh, I use olive oil for my cooking." And I just heard from you that's the worst you could do.
Well, olive oil is sort of in the middle because it doesn't have any omega-3s in them. They're the most sensitive. Okay. And then omega-6 is only 10%. And omega-3 and omega-6 is the only thing you need to have. You must have from your fat and oil intake. Omega-3
so beef
and omega-6.
tallow, if you're going to do it, is the least harmful.
Is less. Yeah. It's the least worst. It's not better. It's the least worst.
Oh,
right?
Man, this is depressing. I'm getting depressed.
But then you don't get the omega-3 and 6 that are the only thing from oils that your body has to have. But they have to be treated with care if they're going to support your health.
What about butter?
Butter is a hard fat. So it's you can fry in butter, but you burn the food, you still turn it brown. The brown on food is toxic because you've taken biological material that's supposed to be food and you just burned it.
Right? Melting butter. Is melted butter bad for you?
Melted butter?
Yeah.
Depends at the temperature at which you melt it. Right? So if it's just melted no, it's okay. But it's not a good source of omega-3 and omega-6, which are the two that are essential that your body can't make that you have to bring in from outside.
So how should we be consuming oil and what should we be looking for when purchasing oils that we don't fry with, that we just eat?
Yeah. Okay. So omega-3 and 6 are the only ones that you have to have. There's so many different kinds of fats. Those are the only two because you can't make them, but you have to have them. And if you don't get either omega-3 or omega-6 long enough, you die. That's how important they are. That's what essential means. If you bring them back when your health is deteriorating because you're not getting enough, you bring back enough before you die, because death is not reversible by definition, right? If you bring them back, then all the problems that come from not getting enough are reversed. So life knows what to do, provided you take responsibility for bringing in the building blocks. That's the definition of essential. Those are the only two. Everything, in fact, you don't need tallow, you don't need butter, you don't need olive oil, but you need omega-3 and omega-6. They should be in glass. If you're really smart, you put a box around it. That's what we did. Put a box around it to cut the light out because light damages oils. You'll find them in the fridge, in the supplement section, in the natural food stores, and you can buy it on Amazon as well. And the only oil that is actually made that way is called Udo's oil. Right? And I started this in 1986. We started with flaxseed oil. 1994, we made the blend because you also need the ratio between omega-3 and 6 to be right. And most people get lots of 6 damaged, and 99% doesn't get enough omega-3 for optimum health. So the ratio has to be right. You got to bring in more omega-3s. They're 5 times more sensitive to damage, so they're a nightmare to work with. But if you give them the care they need, they do awesome job in your body for brain function, for physical energy. We worked with athletes, 40 to 60% increase in performance in their sport if they did it to exhaustion, 30 days after starting to take 2 to 4 tablespoons of oil in their food. You want to mix the oils in the food because that's where they belong. And you can also go back to the seeds and nuts that contain them. Flax is the richest source of omega-3, and every seed has omega-6s in it. So you want to get those seeds unroasted, unsalted, not fried. Not, so you want to.
So what do you recommend for most people? You said take it with food, a couple table.
Yeah, mix it in food. It's compatible with all foods.
What do most people blend it, in?
Well, the people who are working out, shakes and smoothies. Very easy way to do it. But you can pour it on rice. You can pour it on potatoes. You can make salad dressing with it. Literally, you just use it the way you use other oils. Only don't fry it, don't wreck it. Before.
What's the flavor profile?
Some people hate it and some people love it. Oil, because oil will never taste like ice cream.
Yeah, that's but I like it. I like the taste of oil. Probably like olive oil a lot.
Okay, so oils do two things that are very nice. They enhance the flavors of the food you put them in. Mm-hmm. That's why one of the reasons why we like oils in food. And they increase the absorption. They improve the absorption of the oil-soluble nutrients in your foods. So it's always good to have oils with foods.
All right, I think we're doing some myth busting already, but maybe you've got others, Udo. What's one of the biggest myths in nutrition right now?
I think the biggest myth in nutrition right now is the people who are going around saying seed oils are bad and omega-6s are bad. These are all people, like I'm the guy who started this industry. Mm-hmm. None of the people who say that have ever talked to me. Not one. And there's been about 20 people like that over the past 45 years that I've been working with.
I know a few have actually said that. It's caught my radar. I'm not going to name names, but I can think of a couple.
And some of them are high-profile people, and they should know better, but they haven't done their homework. They haven't talked to me, and they haven't done their homework. Because and what they're doing is they're blaming the oil and the omega-6s for what should be blamed on the damage done to them by the industry and by our food preparation practices.
That inflammation, because that's the big thing they promoted. They say, they cause inflammation. It causes inflammation.
And omega-6s, when they're not damaged, cause inflammation as part of healing. But when the healing is done, they don't cause it anymore. So that's just the system in the body. And if they're damaged, they can cause chronic inflammation, but it's the damaged molecules that are doing that, not the omega-6s. And most people don't get enough omega-3s. And omega-3s are very powerfully anti-inflammatory. So we got to do two things. We got to get our omega-6s made with health in mind, not damaged. And we need to bring in the omega-3s that are too low in almost everybody's diet. And when you get the ratio right and they're not damaged, they give you more energy, 40 to 60% in athletes within 30 days if they do their sport to exhaustion. And they're taking like a tablespoon per 50 pounds of body weight per day. That was our measure. 40 to 60% in 30 days.
Crazy.
No extra practice, just more energy. It takes them longer to get tired, right? Because they increase metabolic rate and oxidation rate. And so they have better performance, they recover quicker, and they heal quicker from injuries. And they have less pain and tenderness in their joints, which is from inflammation. And that was true for both endurance and strength sports.
What about, cardiovascular disease? And, oils have always gotten, I think, a bad rap for, thrown in there with clogging your arteries.
So omega-3s lower all of the major risk factors of cardiovascular disease. That includes high blood pressure because they relax arterial muscle tone. They make platelets less sticky, so you're less likely to get a clot in an artery. They decrease CRP, C-reactive protein, which is a measure of inflammation. What else? They lower triglycerides, which are the blood fats. So those are 4 of the major risk factors for cardiovascular disease. All better.
So that's another myth bust.
Yeah, another myth busted. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Because I feel like it's
But if they're like hard fats will make your platelets more sticky.
Okay.
So there are some hard fats, and if they're damaged, then they cause inflammation. So if they're damaged or they're hard fats, or you're not getting enough omega-3, omega-6 in the right ratio, then you can then that can cause you some cardiovascular problems. So you got to do it right. But guess what? Everything's like that. If you do it right, it works. If you do it wrong, you get screwed. Right?
Yeah. So I'm going to throw this at you because you talked about raw meat.
Okay, I'm going to duck.
I'm not eating raw chicken.
No, you're not eating raw chicken?
Yeah, I'm not eating raw chicken. So
Okay.
How do we cook chicken healthy?
Well, there are lots of people who get the chicken breasts and they steam them.
Okay. So steaming. How about open flame? Open flame with no oil. Still, that charring is bad for you?
Yeah, the charred stuff is toxic.
Yeah.
Well, everybody knows that. Barbecue is toxic, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you barbecue your meat and then cut the burnt part off, the meat inside is actually steamed because it's wet, right? Like if you make bread, the crust is burnt.
Yep.
Inside is steamed because it's wet. You can't burn it if it's wet. So the best thing to do, you cut the crust off your bread and just eat the inside. Right? Kids do that sometimes.
Yeah. My son, my 9-year-old, back to him. He always wants the crust cut off.
Yeah, and he's actually smart. See, you need to listen to your children more.
Uncrustables. So Uncrustables are healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
right.
and the thing is that the kids do that, and I don't know why they know, but then the parents say, no, the crust is the best part. It's not. The kid's right, parents wrong.
Wow. That's a myth busted right there.
Yeah.
Because I remember my mom saying that. That crust is good for you.
Next question you asked is nothing sacred?
Yeah, exactly. Nothing is sacred. Udo, can we not buy your stuff? Can you buy it online, or does it have to be refrigerated? And it's got to be in the store.
You can get it off Amazon, but I always recommend go to the stores. It's in the fridge. I don't know what Amazon does. I'm not saying they're not. I don't know what they do. Yeah. And then and then they have it, and it's cool, and then you take it home and you put it in the fridge, and you're gonna And I'm a country bumpkin, so I like to support the local people who run your local businesses.
Yeah, I like that too. I was more just curious for our audience if they didn't have it locally.
If they don't have it locally, they can get it from Amazon.
Yeah. As we close out here, our talks about oil, is there anything else that maybe, as part of your, you've done this for a long time. What are we leaving out that our audience could learn from?
I think we pretty much covered the basics.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I look forward to having you back to talk about your broader health discovery. Total health, mind, body. Yeah. It really gets in the total mind, body, energy realm.
Yeah, mind and body, that's 2 of them, but there's actually 10 of them, 10 parts.
Yes, the 10, the 10. Udo, let's drop some links and names of books and everything, like all those details, so that our audience can learn more about you, get more details, and of course, order some products.
Yeah, the book, the tome that I wrote is called Fats That Heal, Fats That Kill, because there are 2 opposite stories on fats, and you need to know which is which, so you can pick the good stuff and leave the bad stuff. And then I recently wrote a book called Your Body Needs an Oil Change, and that begins to go into the 10 parts of total health, but it's a summary of the oils on a more street level. My website is udoerasmus.com. I'm not hard to find because Udo is a really strange name, right? When I was a kid, I hated it because I wanted to be like everybody else, right? Hey. And now it's my SEO because if you get Udo, you put Udo into Google, I'm on the first page.
Yes.
So thanks, thanks Dad and Mom for giving me this crazy name.
It worked out for you.
Yeah, it's working out now.
Udo, you're a great interview, a lot of fun, and you've done a lot of great things. I can tell you're going to do even more.
Yeah, I'll be 84 in May, so
you don't seem it or look it. You look great.
I'm just getting going.
Exactly. Udo, I look forward to having you back on to talk more about health. Hey guys, you're going to find us vibescience.com. We'll have links to all of Udo's materials, his books, and of course his website. He's easy to find, UDO Erasmus. We really appreciate Udo for coming on. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time on Vibe Science.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
The content discussed on this show is provided for reference and educational purposes. The content is not an attempt to practice medicine or provide specific medical advice. Always consult your personal physician for medical advice and proper diagnosis.
Thanks for listening. This is Vibe Science. To learn more or watch full episodes, visit vibesciencepodcast.com. Here's to discovering your highest vibe.